All right, guys, let's dig into the David Montgomery storyline because this one has some layers to it. And it isn't just a normal, hey, a veteran might move on. This has franchise implications. It has personnel strategy. And it has emotional attachment for Lions fans. So here's where we stand. In the recent live presser from the Lions, Brad Holmes basically admitted that Detroit and David Montgomery could very well go their separate ways this offseason. And he didn't dance around it either. He said it's something they're going to have to explore. Now, whether that means a trade or just letting things play out because Montgomery deserves a situation where he's actually used the way he should be, is what he said. That's straight from Holmes himself. This is how he's approaching this. I have some great concern over this. And so we're going to pause right there because that's a strange thing to hear from a GM about a guy who's under contract through 2027, by the way. That's Montgomery's contract. The Lions extended Montgomery not that long ago, and rightly so, because for all the love that Jahmyr Gibbs gets, and he's a good player. Do not get me wrong. Jahmyr Gibbs is an elite NFL running back. David Montgomery can carry the load. He can. I mean, if Jahmyr Gibbs gets injured, I'm not losing any sleep over David Montgomery running the backfield with the offense. I'm not worried about it at all. I mean, let's not forget the Sonic and Knuckles nicknames. They go together well. They play well together. They play well individually. And the plan was when bringing him on, when Jamal Williams ended up departing, was that he would be an important piece of the running game alongside Gibbs. But in 2025, did we see that? Obviously not. Montgomery's role dwindled like he was a nothing player on the roster. He had a career low of 158 carries, and part of that was because Gibbs was on fire, and the other part of that was because the offense leaned in that direction. Now, is that a Campbell thing? Is that, the Morton firing thing? Maybe Morton didn't want to play him. I don't know. But for whatever reason, Montgomery was just not included in the game plan. And we saw this with a couple other impact players. Jameson Williams was another one. Now, he got involved late in the season, but I think it was until week 8, he wasn't, getting any touches, getting any looks. Anyhow, we've got a guy in Montgomery who's clearly a professional. He's never publicly complained. He's never bashed the Lions. He's or the coaching staff or anybody like that. He's handled his situation with class, but the field does tell a different story. I mean, his snaps and carries dipped to career lows. And while Gibbs took over the starting role from week 1, Montgomery ended up in a position that didn't really reflect his talent or what he's done in the past. And I'm not just talking about what he's done in the past of his NFL career. I'm talking about what he's done in the past for the Lions. He's been a productive player. This is the same David Montgomery who, in his first full season with Detroit, put up a 1,000-yard rushing performance and double-digit touchdowns. He's a proven running back. He's a bruising back. I can't tell you how many times when Dan Campbell wants to go for it on 4th down and short, he puts Montgomery out there and lets him get it. He's someone teams across the NFL respect. So after a season like 2025 where his usage dropped off significantly, Holmes is essentially saying, hey, we love this guy, but is it best for him to be here? I mean, that's pretty big. And also, I don't know what Brad Holmes means by that. What do you mean is it best for him to be here? He's an elite player. You guys step over draft picks, the Tesla thing. You guys step over players to go get elite players, and then you don't use them. So you guys got a really great player, an excellent running back, and you're not going to use him. So you're just going to say, well, I don't know if he should be here. I guess we should just dump him off and get rid of him. I hope Jahmyr Gibbs makes it through an entire season then. I hope Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't tear a ligament or have any injury problems where he's sidelined, because we don't really have anybody else to carry the load like that. I think we need to get into the real reason this feels like Holmes was trying to get ahead of a narrative. And I think the bottom line here, the undertone, if you will, is that the Lions need to optimize their roster. And Montgomery's role just got squeezed. They know that. They know this season sucked. They know it was a disappointment. And they spent a ton of money on this roster. They've driven up everything. Don't tell me you haven't noticed the ticket prices and concessions. Don't tell me you haven't noticed the cost to go into the games going up. Yeah, there's a reason for that. So they're underwater on some of these players, I think. And Montgomery's role is getting squeezed now. Because he's at the end of the day, as good as he is the number 2 guy. Gibbs is elite, explosive, catches passes out of the backfield. He has the identity of this rushing attack. He is a huge part of the offense. And so when that happens in the NFL, one of two things usually follow. The veteran accepts the change as a complimentary piece, or something else, or something has to give. Holmes seems to be hinting that maybe it's time for something to give. Now, naturally, people like myself and fans are asking, is it just talk? Is it just something that he said, a touching point in the presser from a few days ago? Is Montgomery really gone? Are they really going to deal him? And here's where the nuance comes in. Detroit could trade him, and they'd save around $3.5 million in cap space. Or they could keep him on the roster and hope they figure out how to better use him, which is what I would like to see. He's a good player. He worked out well in past seasons for Detroit. I don't know why you would dump him. I mean, obviously we have the NFL draft ahead of us, and there is some money to be. There's a number of moving parts here if it's a money thing. If it's a money thing, then there could be a different dynamic playing out that maybe we aren't totally aware of. And on that note, trading him might make sense in some ways, I guess. I mean, plenty of teams in the league would value a guy like Montgomery. He's a proven, disciplined runner who can handle physical work and also catch the ball. Now, his contract is moderate, okay? It's not absurd, and that's why I said what I said about the money thing. And so teams could see him as an upgrade or to complement their backfield in the way that he complements Detroit's. And maybe that's why you're already hearing trade buzz from other fan bases and other media, because that is going on. Dallas, other spots around the league. The Lions might be willing to move him, and other teams are paying attention to that. But I think we also need to get real here for the Lions' upcoming season. This isn't just a chess move. It's an emotional gut punch for fans. He has been a Lion in the classic sense. Montgomery has. He's tough. He's dependable. He's reliable. He had a top-selling jersey. He's one of those guys that people talk about in locker room stories. You don't get rid of that kind of identity lightly. You don't get rid of your bruising back, your knuckles. That's why Holmes prefaced all this with respect and appreciation. It was great. He's this, he's that, blah, blah, blah. It's his way of saying, we're not swapping him out like a broken toy. We want what's best for him and for this team. And I can't say that we all don't understand that, because we certainly do. But that's where this story turns into one of the biggest off-season narratives for Detroit. Because if you do move him, if Detroit opts to move him in some way then you're effectively betting the farm on Gibbs and potentially a cheaper complementary option. Again, we do have the draft in front of us. But, I mean, it would be very risky to dump him and then pick a guy in the NFL draft. I mean, they're not going to take another running back this high. I mean, they did that with Gibbs. They're not going to do it again. I would at least hope not. I think there's other areas in player positions that they need more desperately. But they're also signaling that the Lions want to elevate their offense scheme to be younger, faster, more dynamic. And that might be the path to competing for a Super Bowl for once. But it also risks losing a veteran presence and a respected locker room voice. And so here's the bottom lines. At the end of the day, here's the bottom lines. Holmes publicly opened the door to Montgomery leaving and framed it around respect and opportunity. Montgomery's usage dipped. Gibbs took over. And that's a football reality that the coaches and Holmes is not ignoring, obviously, because we've seen that in the presser. And so this could lead to a trade or parting of ways, depending on what Montgomery wants and what other teams are willing to give up. I mean, I'm not saying it's totally off the table. I mean, what if they get a great deal for him? What if they get multiple picks or something? I don't think you're going to get a ton of picks, but I'm just saying, what if you get something that makes a little more sense to where maybe we can digest that a little easier? And I also think that while we've heard from Campbell on his usage, we've heard from Holmes, we haven't heard from David Montgomery. We don't actually know, although we can surmise that he's probably not thrilled with it. He would probably like to have a role in the offense and play while he's a healthy and capable player to do so. And if they can't figure out a way to move him in a little more, is he going to be comfortable with that? Is he going to be comfortable with not playing that much? I mean, I don't know. So there's also the David Montgomery aspect. There's also the player aspect here of what does he want to do? But I'll tell you this, if the Lions do move on, that's going to be one of the most talked about roster decisions in the franchise in recent years. Because you're not just talking about a running back. You're talking about an identity, a fairness, an opportunity, respect. I mean, he's a tremendous part of that team. And whether you love the move, you question it, you hate it, it's going to be a big storyline for the next season. And so we're going to keep an eye on it, but it was an interesting takeaway from the presser and some interesting reporting has since followed about that specifically. So we'll see where that goes.